Welcome, everybody. I guess I should begin by wishing everybody a Happy New Year. I hope you all had a great holiday with your family and your friends and much success in the new year. I'm excited to be here. I have about 20 minutes with you, so not a lot of time, but I was just thinking from a practical standpoint as a salon owner, what are the couple of things that we think about in our organization at this time of year in order to really, drive our business forward in the coming 12 months. And so I want to talk to you about a couple of things. I kind of framed it up by, you've heard this saying a million times, the past is 2024 is history now. It's over. There's nothing we can do about it. And 2025 is a mystery. So, I think one of the greatest fears we all have as human beings is the fear of the unknown. And so we spend a lot of time worrying about what might happen. And then once we figure out whether it's going to happen or it's not going to happen, then our focus tends to shift from worrying about it to doing something about it. So I like to be, as an entrepreneur or a business owner, I think what a skill that you have to develop if you're going to be really successful is you have to get really good at predicting the future. Because what that allows you to do is make plans and allows you to get your focus off of worrying about something and actually trying to control it and predict it. So I always like to look back at the last 12 months and ask myself two questions. What have we learned from the past 12 months about our business, about the business we're in, about how we operated, how we executed? And then how do we adapt our business and our leadership based on that learning? And then how do we get better at predicting the future? So from a practical standpoint, I wanted to share with you a couple of tools that we like to use. So the first thing I think about is, what did we learn from the past year? Well, in order to answer that question, I think we have to really tap into our customers and what they're thinking and feeling, because ultimately how they experience our business really determines our success to a large extent, determines whether they're happy, whether they're going to come back, what they're going to write on their Google review, et cetera, et cetera. So came across an interesting survey from Zenoti, which, as you know, is a POS system in our industry. So back in July of 2024, they did a survey of 1,413 US customers. 39% of them were male, 61% of them were female. And they had a full census age balancing, which means that basically they had four age groups. So they had, adults over the age of 60, I think adults between 40 and 60, between 20 and 40, and under 20. So the margin of error in this data I'm going to show you is about plus or minus 3%. But I thought, I'm not going to go through the details of the entire study, but I pulled out what I felt were the highlights because I think it's really relevant. So one of the questions on the survey was they asked consumers what makes for a great salon experience. And we're in a world of tech right now. Obviously, technology is involved in everything that we do, and I think sometimes we get really, really focused on it, and sometimes we forget about the essence of the fact that at the end of the day, we're in a relationship business, and how we build relationships with our customers is ultimately a huge factor in our success, and it's really borne out by the survey. So interestingly enough, the answer that was picked the most was quality of service and results. So 71% of the respondents said the number one thing that makes for a great salon experience for me is the result that I get and the quality of the service that I experience. The number two selection on the survey was a warm personal welcome. So it's really important to people that they're properly greeted and meant to felt welcome when they walk into your salon or spa. And the third was a friendly, familiar conversation. And then interestingly enough, from there, it drops off pretty radically. So only 37% of people said a quick, easy checkout was most important. 29% said, my ability to pay via a mobile device or through technology is important. And 21% said getting the products I need. So if you think about this, I think it's interesting because, we live, like today's a great example. None of us are face to face with each other right now. We're all operating on our computer. So that human connection is there, but not to the same extent. And so it's interesting to me, but not surprising, that people are still connecting most with that human experience when they walk into your establishment. They want to have a great conversation. They want to be greeted warmly. They want to feel like they're important. They're not just another person walking through the door. Then we asked the question, what makes for a not so great experience? And the number one answer was wait times before service. So when I show up at your
Hit it
establishment, I
down,
don't
okay.
want to sit there for half an hour waiting for
Okay, you're
something
right,
to
and keep
come
hitting
in.
it.
I want my
Can't hold your
service
hand on
provider to
writing.
be on time and to be
Can't hold
respectful.
your hand on writing.
That was the number one response. The second was staff demeanor. So the mood of the people I'm interacting with, which really speaks to the culture in your salon, and are people having a good time? Are the people that, on your team enjoying their work? Are they functioning as a team? Are they interacting in a positive manner? Because how they interact with each other is obviously noticed by the client. And then the third one was a lack of personal connection. So again, consumers are saying, look, I don't want to feel like a number or just another guest. I want to feel like I have a connection to the business that I'm supporting. And then it starts to become non-emotional or non-relationship again. So, checking out, paying my bill was 17%. The check-in process was 16, lack of available products, rebooking my next appointment. But I think there's an interesting pattern here because the things that are less important are the tasks. The things that are more important are the things that are emotional or connected or speak to relationships. And then the third question I pulled out because I thought it was relevant. Um, if we just go to the next slide, there is, what influences you the most when you're choosing a salon or spa to go to? Now, if you've been in the retail business for as long as I have, I heard when I was 24 years old, I opened my first salon. Somebody said to me, three most important things are location, location, and location. And here we are 40 years later, and survey says number one reason why a consumer picks your salon initially when they don't know anything about you is location of the business. 57% said that was the number one reason they walked into your salon or spa the first time. So can never downplay the relevance of that. Number two is referral by a friend or a family member, which obviously only happens if everything else is great. If they get a great result, they have a great experience, they're going to refer people or friends to your establishment. And the third one was online customer reviews. So very important. People read reviews. I know I do. When I'm looking for a restaurant or something and I'm sort of comparing one to another, I always read the reviews. And again, the tech part of it, so the ability to book online, receiving text or email confirmations, online info about the business, ability to text the salon, um, they're all important, but they're not nearly as important as the pieces that connect people together. So I thought this was very interesting because, so I give you an example of how my mind works is I see a survey like this, and the first thing I want to ask myself is how do my salons compare to these results? Like if I was surveying our guests, how would they respond to these questions? And are we meeting the demands of our customers? So if you're looking for a takeaway from this, I think a great thing to do would be number one, ask yourself the question, maybe you ask your team in a team meeting, how do you think we rate in each of these areas relative to what the survey is saying? And another great option would be to get a survey monkey and to ask your customers, a sample of your customers to rate you on these particular factors and see how you rate. Because you may identify some opportunities there to improve some of the processes that you have in your salon to make sure that you're prioritizing these things in the same manner that your customers are. Because sometimes we can get, all about the tech, and all of a sudden we're forgetting about the customer service or the experience of the client when they walk into our business. So I thought that was interesting. Second thing I wanted to talk to you about today, um, I'm a finance guy at heart, and so to me, numbers don't lie. And so when I'm evaluating our business, yeah, I want to look at the soft skills. I want to look at what the customers say. I want to look at all of that. But at the end of the day, I also want to make sure we have a plan and that we're not just showing up every day and hoping something good happens, but that we're executing against the plan. So, how do we predict the future? What is your P&L or your financial situation going to look like next year? My belief is what you do is you design it and then you try to execute a plan to achieve it versus just hoping that something good happens. And so I want to introduce you to a tool that we've developed in our financial services department to do exactly that. So what you're looking at on the screen is a cutout of the top of this financial analysis tool. So on the left-hand side on the column, you'll see all the various services. So we have salon services, spa services, nail services, We can break out the service volume by the owner. So if you're a salon owner and you're performing services, we want to separate that out to have a look at it. We can do that. And then all of the retail. And if you happen to be a blended salon, then we can account for any rental income that you have as well. So what we basically do is we take our profit and loss statement at any point in the year. So the illustration you're seeing is in September. We're plugging in our sales year to date to September. And then what this model is doing is it's predicting where those sales are going to finish at the end of the year. Now, in a perfect world, if we have a December year-end financial statement, then we know exactly how 2024 finished. From there, we have a model that we use at SSBC that basically says, look, in a perfect world, here's what we think your sales could be, based on our understanding of the business. And so if you look at this example, you'll see that the model is not upping the service sales, but it's upping the retail sales, because this salon is performing at a retail level that we believe is below what we could achieve if we were coaching and working with that salon owner. And then last but not least, we set a goal for the following year. So the far column on the right is the goal for 2025. So if you look at the highlighted area, you'll see what we're doing. So we're predicting a 3% increase in salon services, a 3% increase in spa services. We're predicting a 10% decline in the owner services, because in this example, we're assuming the owner is going to work a little less behind the chair next year. And then we're predicting the RTSs of all the various retail. So who are we doing that? We're doing that with you. So we're having a conversation saying, what do you want to set as a goal for 2025? So we're going through all of those revenue items first. And so if you look at the bottom, you can see that in this example, we're predicting sales in 2025 of $1,295,000 versus $1,260,000 in 2024. Okay, and then we go to the second part of this analysis.
And Peter, I just want to stop us for just 1 second. I just received a text that some folks can't see the screen. Are you able to see the screen, Peter?
I'm able to see it, yes.
Okay, good. And Tim, do we have you back? You can see it?
I'm good. It's good.
Okay, perfect. Going to the next slide.
So then very quickly, what we do is, so in real time, this is all connected together, but now we go through all of the direct expenses. So basically the wages, the payroll taxes, the back bar supplies, the professional supplies. So again, we're plugging in your financial statement. It's giving us a trend. We're measuring that against the model, so we can see if there's inefficiency, wastage, shrinkage in any of your retail areas. We can see your labor codes. And then with you, we're designing what those expenses should be for 2025 so that we can predict your gross profit. So in this example, you'll see we're predicting a gross profit of $375,000 versus $326,000 the prior year. So a $50,000 increase. And how are we doing that? By helping you to get more efficient in some of these expense categories. Okay. On the next slide, we go to all the indirect expenses. So management fees, marketing, education, workers' comp, office supplies, cleaning, insurance, rent, repairs and maintenance, you name it, all the way down the list. Again, we're taking your existing profile, we're taking the trend for the year, the SSBC model, and then we're working with you and we're actually designing what we think these could be. Now, in some cases, your rent may be too high. There's nothing we can do about that. If you sign the lease, you're stuck with it. So we're not trying to pick Nirvana here. We're trying to.
Oh, Peter, can you, we have you on mute for a moment for some reason? And all right.
Yeah, I'm
There you
off
go.
mute.
Yep, just go back
So
about 10 seconds.
yeah, so what we're doing now is we're working with you and we're designing all of the fixed expenses for your business for next year. And so what we end up with then is a financial statement that says, here's what you look like in 2024. Here's what the ideal model looks like, but here's what we think we can get you to. So if you look at the very bottom line where it says net operating income, in essence, this salon is trending to make $65,000 this year. We think in a perfect world, it could make 175. But we're happy if in 2025, if we can get it to 113. So a $40,000 improvement in net income by helping this salon owners to be more efficient at what they're doing. Okay. So once we've completed that, we then go into a cash flow statement. So now we're literally saying, okay, look, here's the opening cash balance in your bank account based on distributions, loan payments, all the other things that affect your business. Here's what we think your minimum cash balance should be every month. So in this case, $63,000. Here's what your actual cash balance is going to look like at the end of the year. And so then that allows us to help you understand whether you're going to have an opportunity to take additional distributions out of your business. In other words, is there going to be excess cash there that you can take out as an owner? Are you going to have a cash shortage? In which case, if you've got a problem coming, better to know about it now than to wake up one day and realize that you don't have enough cash flow to run your business. And so this is a model that we're using to predict your future for the next 12 months based on your input and our understanding of the business. Once we have this model built for 2025, if you want to click on the next slide, then what it converts to is a month-by-month plan. And so what I'm showing you here is I'm only showing you January, February, and March, and I'm only showing you the sales. But literally this spreadsheet goes from top line all the way down to cash flow. So everything I just showed you on the previous slide, it's going to show you the breakdown month by month. And we're going to build it off of your prior year's sales. So if you're looking for a 3% growth, we're going to grow last year's monthly sales by 3%. We're not going to take an average. We're going to actually build it off of the trend from last year. So when you're done, you have a complete month-by-month plan for the entire year. Where this gets really, really relevant. So in my world, what happens is if you look at these 3 months, you'll see for February, March, it says plan. So that's what the model's predicting. For January, it says actual, because what we do is when the month is over, you would take your financial statement, or we would take it for you, and we would go in and overwrite the numbers in the plan with the actual results of your business. So then when you look at the trend line that's highlighted in yellow, as the year progresses, we can see where your business is trending relative to the goal. So in this example, when we plugged in January's numbers, you can see that the goal for salon services was 686,000, but the trend is 681. Why? Because we underperformed in January. And so as the year is progressing and we're seeing where your revenues and expenses are fluctuating from the goal, then if you're working with a coach, we can help you to try and course correct so that at the end of the day, you land at the bottom line that you predicted. Because ultimately, that's the success of your business and that's your return on investment. So it's not about how much you sell or how much you spend, it's about how much you keep. And if you're looking to build long-term wealth as a salon owner, this is absolutely critical. You know, the end of the month for you should not be a surprise, it should be a prediction. And it should be the execution of a plan. So what this is designed to do is build the plan for you. And then your responsibility, along with your coach, if you're working with a coach, is to go out and execute that plan. So last but not least, if this is a tool that you like, or this is something that you would like to have done, our financial services department is now offering a service to complete this for you. So to put together a full plan. So in order to do that, what we would need from you is a 2024 year-to-date balance sheet and income statement, and you would complete a little digital questionnaire so that we understand anything that's coming up in the next 12 months that you're planning. Okay, and then from there, what we would do is design this for you. So what you would get back from us is a spreadsheet with a detailed financial analysis of 2024, this customized monthly financial plan for 2025, which then rolls into a 5-year plan. Okay, so a simple 5-year plan that says, look, if you grow by this much every year, here's what your business could look like, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And then what we do is we jump on a call with you and we go through the entire plan and we make any final tweaks to it, and then you own it. And from there, if you're working with a coach, your coach could update it every month for you, or you could have us update it for you if you wanted to, or you could do it yourself, okay? So if you're interested in possibly pursuing that, the cost to do this would be $750. You can pay for it by level loyalty points if you want. And what you would do is just either send an email to Nikki Salmon at SummitSalon.com, or you can scan this QR code, and in the subject line, just put financial analysis, okay? we have the ability in Q1 to do about 10 of these. Our hope is that we'll be able to increase that capacity dramatically over time. By right now, our limit is about 10 of these. So if you have an interest, I would just encourage you to send an email to Nikki, and she will get in contact with you directly and get the ball rolling for you.